Yep, we're recording now.
Perfect.
Thanks for the heads up.
Sorry we're missing out in the recording on your introduction.
It's okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brianna Elvoyd Preston. My home chapter is Theta Mu at Stetson University down in Florida. Previously, I was an SD in the Southern Bluegrass region, and I'm currently the RD for the Western Great Lakes region. Shout out to everyone who's here tonight. A quick fun fact about me is that I have a very rambunctious French bulldog named Chauncey.
All right,
Hey everyone, I'll jump right in. My name is Jacob Dries. I am the Valley Crossroads Regional Director. I started my lifetime in MyAKPsi at the Gamma Eta chapter back in the fall of 2011, University of Toledo. Since graduating, I've taken on positions such as chapter advisor for University of Michigan Dearborn. I was a section director for the western side of Western Great Lakes before taking on the role of regional director. I'm currently living and working in Oxford, Ohio as an academic advisor at Miami University, and I'd say that's probably my most fun fact. I also like to sleep. I like naps. Oh, and I bought a house. I guess that's fun.
Adulting at its finest.
It's weird.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jaleesa Galladay, the Section 1 Director. I'm currently located in Chicago, Illinois. My home chapter is Gamma Eta, University of Toledo. Like I said, currently I'm in Chicago. I have served as a chapter advisor, and I've been a section director for under a year. One fun fact about me is I'm a foodie. So it's really hard being in Chicago, trying to maintain my weight especially during the pandemic and everything, and trying to eat my way through Chicago.
I love that. Hi, everybody. My name is Craig. Currently live in Chicago. Section director for these Great Plains. Graduated Loyola Chicago Gamma Iota about 3 years ago. Fun fact about me, I also am a foodie, but I also started watching a lot of Gordon Ramsay during the pandemic, during quarantine. So I feel like I perfected his scrambled eggs. So that's like the biggest fun fact I have right now.
That's impressive. Those look like they're not the easiest to make.
I'm definitely close. Hopefully I'm on par with his. But yeah, definitely close.
All right, and then next we'll move to Patrick.
Hi everyone, my name is Patrick Northcraft. I am currently a section director for the Western Great Plains. Like some others on this call, I am also a graduate from the University of Toledo. Let's see. Can everybody hear me, or is that just feedback from somebody else?
I'm currently.
Okay. In addition to my current position, I've also served as a section director for the Eastern Great Plains and the Western Great Lakes, and I also currently serve as the chapter advisor for Case Western Reserve and Valley Crossroads. Fun fact about myself is I like to write my own music, and I'm currently a financial analyst for Marathon Petroleum Corporation in Findlay, Ohio.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Patrick. So had to pivot on this next one. I have Ryan Cunningham FaceTime because he wasn't able to call in. So instead of missing his intro, I'll let him intro through FaceTime.
Hey guys, Ryan Cunningham. I'm working as section director and Western Great Plains. Really excited to be plugged in and get started. Currently living in Fort Worth, but ready to meet some of the students and the volunteers.
All right. Thank you so much, Ryan. I'll call you back for your part, okay?
Okay.
All right, so next, Jeff Hughes, is he on the line?
Looks like he is not on here.
Okay, Jacob, would you like to just do a high level for Jeff?
Yeah, of course. So Jeff is the section director for the Indiana section of the Valley Crossroads, or the Western section. He is currently living in the Indianapolis area. He used to work at the Heritage Center. I'm not sure what his current ventures are, but he's a great resource and a great contact, so definitely reach out to him if you're in the Indiana area, and he'll help you out.
All right, thanks. And then next, Amy.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amy Kelly, and I actually started the Untitled Chapter at Shippensburg University with a group of students there in the College of Business. I'm currently a section director here for the Valley Crossroads region and covering Ohio State, Dayton, Cincinnati, and Miami. And those are the chapters that are currently in my section. I also have started 2 of the alumni chapters here with Alpha Kappa Psi, the Baltimore Metro Alumni Chapter, and I'm one of the founders for the Central California Alumni Chapter as well. And one of the fun facts about me is that I love sports. I love to play volleyball. I've been playing volleyball for well over 20 years now. Most recently last year, I started going to a yoga class to see if I could learn more about that as well. So just trying to expand my horizons there. And it's nice to see everyone on here this evening. And I hope you have a great semester or quarter at all of your schools this year.
All right, thanks so much, Amy. And next, we'll move on to Kaylin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kaylin Patterson. I'm also from the Gamma Eta chapter at the University of Toledo. I'm currently a staff accountant for Mannheim here in Grove City, Ohio, so just outside of Columbus. I'm currently the Eastern Section Director for Valley Crossroads, and previously I've been the chapter advisor for Zeta Rho, and back in my student years I was Vice President of Finance and Director of Compliance. And a fun fact about myself, I started container gardening this year and somehow ended up with an 8-foot tall tomato plant. So that's been interesting to watch.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you all. And then next we'll move on to our fraternity president, Thomas Tran.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Thomas Tran, fraternity president. My home chapter is Penn State. I actually volunteered for the Valley Crossroads for a couple years, and also the Eastern Great Plains. I'm familiar with those chapters here I met, especially through meeting at PBLI. Fun facts, I don't have any fun facts. Other than that, no, I am currently the VP of product management, so I help I work in the technology cloud space, helping companies shift from on-premises into the cloud. So it's been a fun adventure. But as much as I love technology, I like to get away from it as well. So I do enjoy kayaking, rock climbing, and hiking. So just disconnecting when I can. So thank you to Area 2 for inviting me to come on here and chat and talk to you guys, hear what you all are saying from the chapter level. And then Jackie, is Jackie on?
She's currently driving. She's unable to make it tonight.
Okay. So your fraternity executive vice president is Jackie Jujarte. She is there as a helping hand with any alumni chapters and working with the foundation. And she's also been just talking to chapters and helping where she can. So if you ever have any questions in regards to alumni chapters or anything, she has a ton of years of experience. Please reach out to her to bounce ideas as well. So yeah, thank you, JT.
Yeah, thank you. And next we'll move on to Heritage Center staff. So Steve, are you on the line?
Yep. Hi, JT. How are you?
Hey, Steve.
I'm Steve Hartman. I'm the CEO of MyAKPsi. I guess a fun fact is I grew up on a farm in West Virginia. So for the West Virginians on the call, which I think JT and Crystal. JT, are you from West Virginia originally too?
Originally from West Virginia, yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so a couple of mountaineers on the call. And as you can see, I'm not much of a foodie, so Delisa and Craig, I'm actually just trying to wolf down a burrito. So I've turned my camera off so y'all don't have to watch me eat dinner. But I'm here.
Won't judge.
Okay, and then Amber.
Hey everyone, my name is Amber Hammack. I am the CERC for Areas 1 and 2 at the Heritage Center in Indianapolis. I am an honorary member of the New Xi chapter at UC San Diego, and a fun fact about me is that I have a new kitten at home, so it's been interesting in the house.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks so much, Amber. And Eileen, I had to give her a call because she's also having issues calling in. So I have Eileen, our chairman of the board, on the line. So Eileen, you have area 2 ready to listen away. You're on speaker.
Thank you so much. And I was really hoping to see you all face to face. I apologize that I don't know whose end. It's more likely it's me who's a little technologically inept on things. But I just wanted to take a minute and say hello to everyone. Being the new chair, I just wanted to reach out to you during your town hall meeting, just to kind of familiarize yourself with me. I am, and okay, I do not want anyone to do the math on this, okay? But I joined MyAKPsi in 1978 in the Delta Phi chapter at UW Milwaukee. I don't know if there's anyone from Delta Phi out there. I was actually their first female chapter president. Yeah, just a little bit of trivia there. But my professional life, I am a tax person. That is not a 4-letter word. Tax can be fun. But I've worked obviously here in the US, but I've also worked in Singapore and in the UK. So if you ever have a question about working overseas, I'm more than happy to chat with you. I know you all are facing new and unknown experiences this fall, and I just want you to know that the board is here to support you in any way. And if there's any time that you feel that you need to contact us, please feel free to find us in the AKPsi community. And if you can't, please feel free to contact your management team, and they'll certainly be able to get a way for you to contact us. So JT, thank you very much for letting me come in and pseudo Zoom bomb your meeting.
Thank you so much, Eileen.
All right. Y'all take care. Have a good one.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, great. Love technology. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We can pivot in a second. It's fantastic. So, all right. So anyways, so next we'll move on to some presentations, move on to the AKPsi highlights. So Patrick, you want to kick us off?
Sure. So I'm going to talk very briefly about one of the features of the MyAKPsi website. Just a quick overview of that. If you're not familiar, MyAKPsi is a site that has so many different resources, especially for chapter officers, but for all brothers of the fraternity to really take or get the most out of their membership, especially now with a lot of things being virtual. The MyAKPsi site serves as a fantastic hub for you to see what other chapters are doing, and also just to get some material and education on what it means to be a brother, but also different aspects of business leadership. Specifically, my part is the My Learning section. So the My Learning section is AKPsi's educational platform that provides continuing education and really gives you that foothold for both your chapter officer position, chapter operations in general, and professional development. So if you're on the MyAKPsi site, which you can see a screenshot of kind of like the homepage on the slide deck here, and in the top toolbar, there's different options, but the first one is MyAKPsi with a drop down. If you click on that, you can go to the My Learning page, which will take you to where you can see all the different learning plans, learning tracks, and all the different course catalogs that are available for you, both as a student and as a volunteer. I went and checked it out once we decided we were going to put this presentation together. And there's so much content out there for myself as a volunteer and as a young professional, but also there's things for chapter officers too. So these learning tracks are a collection of learning plans that are related to a specific topic or area, kind of like chapter officer roles, or how to find your passion, different things that have been talked about at different AKPsi events. So you can really find a lot of material out there. You can use these as a starting point for conversations in your chapter meetings, or as kind of workshops with your executive board. All kinds of different things these can be leveraged for. As a chapter officer, like most of us on the call probably are, if you complete the learning plans, it'll really help you prepare for your role, especially if you're a new elected to the position and maybe didn't have the best transition with some of your previous officers. And then general members can also complete these plans to get a better education about what it means to be involved in the fraternity. Jacob put put the link in the chat, so make sure you can log in. Amber, our CERC, can definitely help you if you need to get your password reset. The default, I believe, is the password that you signed up for, or the email that you signed up for Chapter Spot with a .myAKPsi at the end, and then your password is whatever it was set up as, and Amber can help you reset that.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Patrick. And then next we'll go to the groups. So Kayla.
Yep. So my groups, collaboration groups are a way for members to stay connected and engage with one another. Groups will be assigned to you automatically, like your chapter, for example. But you can also go in and search and find things that you're interested in. Engaging in a group will help you gain and share information about officer roles, your AKPsi experience, or potentially your careers that you go into. And will help you build relationships with brothers from around the world.
All right, great. Thank you, Kayla. Next, we'll move on to Amy with talking about events.
Thanks, JT. So the events tab, which is there beside the MyAKPsi with the drop-down arrow, once you click on the events link, it will take you to the page and list out all the events that the fraternity has to offer for you. This is where you will find events such as the upcoming sessions for the Institute of Business Leadership or future PBLI events, in addition to conventions. So under the events tab is where you would eventually register for our next biannual convention, which is currently scheduled to be August 4th through the 7th next year in Miami, Florida. Also, with respect to this tab, you're going to have the ability to create your own local events. So if the chapter wants to be able to track registration and attendance for events, this will be another area where you will be able to create some of your own events there under the events tab. A few of you may have attended the event last week in which Mike Moran spoke about negotiating the best compensation package. So that was one of the speakers that we had last week, and he was offering a session on that. And there will be lots of other sessions in the future and other speakers who will be talking to various topics. You'll be able to supplement these events this year, as professional events. So if your chapter is looking for professional events, you'll be able to invite all of your brothers to these events, and they'll be able to register themselves here under this events tab. Now, if there is additional information, or if you need help with walking through the registration process, we would be happy to demo this for you later or walk you through it. Feel free to reach out to me or your chapter advisor, section director, regional director. Any volunteer here would be willing to help you if you encounter any challenges with registering for the event. And next up, we're going to be talking about the mobile app.
Well, thank you. So Ryan's presenting on this, and he's still not able to call in. So look, he popped back into the Zoom call.
Hey guys. So,
hold on a second. There you are.
Hey guys. So the MyAKPsi app is a direct connection to the MyAKPsi community that we've been discussing, and the online portal that we're all used to. So instead of having to log in through a web browser, everything you can do is right there at your fingertips on your phone. So you can chat within groups, register for events, or watch some of the learning tracks created for the executive positions for students and volunteers directly through the app. It's available on Google Play and the App Store, and we encourage everyone to download it, see what it has to offer, just like the items we're discussing, and see how it can assist you.
Great. Thank you, Ryan. And then lastly on this slide, knowledge base. Craig, you want to take it away?
Thanks, JT. So the knowledge base is one of the last things we'll talk about. It's essentially AKPsi's resource library and contains pretty much everything you might need to succeed as a chapter member, an officer, or a volunteer like most of us here are today. So under that, you have many different sections and sections like AKPsi membership, AKPsi general, like governing documents, or any sort of education material you might need. So while learning plans in the My Learning page will contain links to specific resources as you're learning about a topic, the knowledge base is searchable through the search bar with the various listed categories on the knowledge base homepage for when you're looking for what resources are available. And as new resources are created, the knowledge base will continue to grow and develop. So you can see documents being updated pretty regularly in that space. So if you need to find out anything about anything, knowledge base is the place to go find it.
All right. Thanks so much, Craig.
No problem.
All right, so next, obviously with everything going on, we have some great documents and different guides, and Jaleesa's going to be going over some of these. So Jaleesa?
Okay, hello again, everyone. As JC had mentioned, we're all going into this virtual phase. Everything is happening virtually. We're still trying to have all of our students interact with one another as well as with all the volunteers as we transition through this process of still trying to operate during a pandemic. So I'm just very excited. I want to mention to everyone who worked hard on creating these guides, they are very, very helpful. They helped me answer a lot of questions that I had, especially that my chapters had. So they are very detailed as far as if you have questions about how to function during a pandemic, minimum standards, how the due dates. We know due dates are kind of a little flexible right now with everything that's going on, as well as virtual chapter meetings, chapter financial planning, recruitment, Bridge to Brotherhood program, as well as any fraternity events. And let me see, there was another good one in here I wanted to point out. As well as officer transition. I know I had a few chapters that had some concerns about transition, especially last semester going into this semester. So that was very helpful to answer a lot of very important questions. Ready for the next slide, JT. And then the next one is a guide for virtual recruitment. I know a lot of chapters are in the process of doing recruitment right now. Some we're still having a little bit of a hard time trying to figure out how that will look and how they will go about doing that. But this is a very good detailed guide on how to do that through social media, as well as using any resources that the campus can offer. As far as if, on a business campus, if they can send out emails to the chapters, it just helps to give those chapters some ideas on how to go about doing virtual recruiting. And just they're not alone doing this on how to get it done and actually to have a pledge class this semester coming up. And the next slide. And this is the third one that we're gonna touch on tonight for virtual Bridge to Brotherhood. So I guess, since the meetings for the pledge classes will not necessarily be in person, but they still want to have some sort of requirements and just a general basis of how this will go with Bridge to Brotherhood, still making sure that the modules are selected for that pledge class and how you're going to go at least have a good base on what your pledge class will look like, is providing the information of the chapter and how everything will go throughout the semester to make sure that that pledge can thrive throughout the process to potentially become a member. So it does go into very good detail, but if you have any questions, you can always feel free to reach out to any volunteer if you have any questions.
All right. Thank you, Jaleesa. The next one, we'll get to minimum expectations. Jacob, you want to tackle this one?
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, the minimum expectations, if you have any questions, I will try to answer those as we go along, but also we will have time at the end for any questions that you have. We'd be happy to make sure that you're leaving today understanding what you need to do for the next year. So the important thing that we were talking about when it came to the minimum expectations for this semester and this year is we want to make sure that you're able to recruit, that you're able to engage with your members, and that you're also able to retain the talent and members that you have. So starting with recruit, the first minimum expectation is to complete 2 recruitments. So those can either be in the virtual or hybrid format in an academic year. So 2 recruitments in the academic year, and one of them must be in the first term of the year. So we're really encouraging you to spread your creativity muscles, flex those a little bit, and recruit even in this virtual climate so that we're able to reach out to the new students at each of your universities and get them connected with the great things that we have here in AKPsi. The second thing is that we have to follow the Bridge to Brotherhood program with any potential new members. So this is just like normal. You're going to complete your Bridge syllabus. You'll receive the confirmation that it is approved by Amber, and then you're good to go. So make sure you follow that program throughout your pledging process with your new members. In the Engage section, so even in this virtual environment, we are encouraging you to engage with your chapters on the local level, and we are also encouraging you to engage at the fraternity level. So the first thing is complete virtual chapter events. So we're encouraging you to complete chapter events and host virtual chapter events with 50% of members in attendance. So that's cumulative, meaning that if you have one event where 50% are there, you're good. If you have 50 events where 1% are there, you're good. So as long as you complete that, you're good to go. For number 4, we have 10% of chapter members, or a minimum of 3 if the chapter has less than 30 members, in attendance at a fraternity-wide virtual session. So these are the fraternity-wide Brotherhood Unbounded events, the Institute for Business Leadership, anything that's being hosted at the fraternity level. We're encouraging you to go and connect and network with people and brothers at the fraternity level. And the last is to retain. So in this virtual environment, connection is very difficult. So what we're encouraging you to do is we are asking you to have at least 4 of your 7 core chapter officers complete their learning plans in the MyAKPsi community. Now, it should be that all 7 are completing it, but we're asking for a minimum of 4. That way, you're adequately trained on your job as a chapter officer, and that way you can pass down that information to the next chapter officer. And then the last one is to meet your chapter success plan year-end chapter size goal. So if you remember back in the chapter success plans earlier in the summer, you came up with a goal for your year-end chapter size. If you don't remember what that is, please refer to your CSP. If you think that might need to be changed, connect with your regional director and we'll be able to have a conversation with you about the next steps or what we can do to kind of make that adjustments and give you an attainable goal. So again, any questions? Please post them in the chat. That might be the best way.
Okay. Well, we can also tag them on the open discussion at the end as well. So think about some questions and we'll be sure to get those answered at the end. All right, thank you, Jacob. And then next we'll go on to technology platforms. So Brianna?
Hello, everyone. So tonight we wanted to touch on all of our technology platforms. Since MyAKPsi is so new, we've been covering that so much, but we didn't want to slight ChapterSpot or Smarter Select in any way because they're all equally important. So as I mentioned, we have ChapterSpot, Smarter Select, and MyAKPsi. ChapterSpot is used for chapter management. So the task you're most likely going to do here is your roster updates. So this is where you report your pledges, your dropped pledges, your initiates. And also this is where you do your status changes, LOA, suspensions, reporting alumni. The next important thing is the checklist app. So you should be receiving reminders. The checklist app, of course, is all the tasks that you need to complete. So if you're not sure how or where to go to complete a task, if you open up the task in the checklist app, it should give you the task, what to complete, where to complete it. And then when you submit it, it alerts your CERC to know that the task is complete for your chapter. And then HQ Docs, this is actually an archive of documents going all the way back to the 2015-16 school year for your chapter. But the most important thing to remember about HQ Docs is that this is where you upload your e-board and chapter meeting minutes for your RMT and also the staff to review. Here you can also find your CSP feedback, your chapter success plan that's been finalized, and also your Bridge to Brotherhood syllabus that's been finalized. The dues feature is pretty cool. You can have your chapter brothers pay their dues here. It's a little more secure than using Venmo or cash in some circumstances. Some other optional features that are cool: you can send mass communication, and you can also set up a website for your chapter through ChapterSpot. We do have some training videos. If you would like some more info, that is in the knowledge base on MyAKPsi. Moving on to Smarter Select, this is form submission. So this is where you're going to complete your secret syllabus. Important thing to remember here: make sure you're logged in with your chapter account. In order for them to be considered by your CERC, you have to be logged in under that account. You can find that login info in HQ Docs in ChapterSpot. We also have an FAQ on Smarter Select in the knowledge base. And now we can move on to the second slide. This is tying back to MyAKPsi. We thought this was important for you guys to know. For notifications in the groups, you'll need to go to MyAKPsi and then My Groups, and then choose whichever specific group you'd like to update the notifications for. The default setting is a weekly digest, so if you'd rather have every post more real-time updates, or if you want a daily digest, just want to make sure you guys aren't missing anything important. And now I'll pass it on to Thomas.
Thank you. Cool. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Brianna. So in our commitment to leadership development of our members in this virtual environment, AKPsi is continuing the Brotherhood Unbounded initiative this year. So towards the end of April, May, we started this as a result of COVID-19 as a way to keep our members engaged. We just recently launched the brand new programs this fall. We've been working with a team of student interns to help us identify where the needs are and identify how we can promote this product that benefits you all during this virtual period. So this year, we are so the first one is hosting monthly virtual keynotes. So this month, September, we had one last week that was called the Negotiating the Best Compensation Package. If you missed that event, I would recommend you guys watch our YouTube channel. It's listed there, and get some tips, especially if you're going to be graduating. It'd be good to understand that. After being on that event, I knew some of this stuff to negotiate a better compensation package, especially out of college, instead of just taking the best offer that was handed to me. So I highly recommend you all watch that if you did not make it last week. For October, so we have a keynote focused on personal development called Brain Makeover, Be Happier and Healthier. So look out for additional details on that event for October. In addition to the monthly keynotes, we are rolling out the Berkman Survey, which is a personality and self-assessment tool that identifies your work style, your preferences, your team dynamics, and stress behaviors. So if you were at the President's Academy this past January, there was a lot of great feedback in regards to the Berkman survey. For example, we all have different personality types. Sometimes a personality type might stress someone out, and not because they didn't like you, it's because they just don't. That's a stress reaction to that behavior. So imagine being able to understand those stress behaviors and seeing and being able to identify that, and also kind of, change the way you work with those individuals so that they become less stressed and become more approachable in that sense. So this is a tool that chief level execs and Fortune 500 companies use, and this is not a free test you can find off on the internet. It usually has a fee attached to it, and we are offering that to our members for free. So be on the lookout. We will be rolling out that soon. In addition to the Berkman survey, we'll have small groups. So in addition to doing these assessments and reviewing your reports, we actually will have trained volunteers and staff members to talk you through some of the personalities and assessments that you got and how to work with different individuals in those groups. Really excited for that. In addition, the Institute of Business Leadership, which is a virtual version of our PBLI, is a one-day around-the-globe virtual leadership development conference with speakers and panelists that will be hosted for free for dues-paying members. So this is in lieu of the in-person PBLI in February, and we're looking to do one in the fall and in the spring. So we're going to try to bring that PBLI experience that we are used to in person into a virtual space in one day. In addition, we will be rolling out the Principal Business Leader Certificate in the spring 2021. These certificates will be awarded to members as they achieve certain milestones and learn soft skills along the Principal Business Leadership journeys. So the things, the Brotherhood Unbounded programs you're part of, the learning plans that you do in MyAKPsi, that's all being tracked. And each of them have a soft skill that it's tackling, and that is what will help you achieve the milestones and then get you to this Principal Leadership Certificate. I'm excited for that because it's a great conversation starter. Having that on your resume, having that on LinkedIn, people ask, what's that? How do I get that? So it's a great conversation starter, especially when you're talking in interviews. And in addition, we just rolled out the all-new mobile MyAKPsi app, which gives you all the features of MyAKPsi community in the palm of your hand. So you can chat in groups, register for events, do your learning plans. Everything is there for you to kind of continue your leadership development during a virtual period. So a lot of exciting new things from AKPsi has been developed over this past summer to support our members in a virtual world. From working with a team of students to hear what they're looking for, to the task forces led by the AKPsi staff and management team, these programs were built for you. So you can use them to add to what you do today, or you can use them in place of creating your own events this year. Why stress out about creating events or looking for a presenter when you can focus on something else? Utilize the Brotherhood Unbounded programs, the monthly keynotes, Institute of Business Leaders, all that is going to be made available. So use that to help you, especially during this virtual period. So excited for the programs, excited for some of the tools that we are rolling out for you all. And I'm excited that it's offered at for free for our members. So take advantage of it. This utilizes our alumni, utilizes our network, utilizes our resources to kind of continue to develop you and offset some of the skills that you aren't learning in school. So yeah, so thank you for that.
Okay, great. Thank you, Thomas. And next we'll pass off to Steve Hartman.
JT.
Quick question. You're an honorary initiate of what chapter?
Yeah, so I appreciate that, teeing that up. I'm a proud member of Gamma Chi chapter. That's Miami University. So shout out to you and to Alex on the line tonight. My wife is also a graduate of Miami, as am I. And we love the campus. And we just actually went back there a few weeks ago to visit for my oldest son is looking to go there. So appreciate that. Yeah, a little shout out to the Redhawks. A lot of what I was going to cover, or what's been covered tonight, is kind of, if I can step back for a minute and talk a little bit about the bigger picture. The things that have been outlined tonight by each of the volunteers here on the call. And by the way, thank you all for being on the call, and JT for organizing this event and getting everything organized, the agenda, and everyone prepared to present tonight. I very much appreciate that. Thank you for doing that, taking your time. And likewise, thank you to the student chapter officers that are also on the line. Sometimes we often don't remember, or at least we have to be reminded sometimes, that you all have a lot of choices as well with the organizations that you can join and be part of. So you're also volunteers in leading your chapter. So again, thank you for all of your effort and hard work out there. The point of a lot of what we've covered tonight is, in fact, to make your life as a leader easier. So in the midst of COVID, as Thomas pointed out, we really were scrambling to figure out what can we do as an organization to sort of leverage the fact that we have alumni members, we have chapters, we have this opportunity to get a lot of the educational things, or a lot of the connections we can have to try to do something about that at the central level, knowing that basically all of the chapters and the decentralized part of the organization were certainly in disarray. And even in this academic term, with the changes and with the challenges of COVID, it's still very difficult to keep people together, figuratively, obviously, literally also. So what can we do as an organization to provide the value for the membership? This is a conversation I've had over the summer in a couple of phone conversations with Ed Friel and Courtney Sweeney from Butler. We have talked about this in reference to what's different about the AKPsi experience that makes it something someone wants to be part of, something that is different from just being in a business school and doing the things that the school obviously provides. But what can we do that's different? And so when Thomas talked about Brotherhood Unbounded, the different programmatic pieces there are things that we look to provide for members that they just can't get anywhere else. So that includes the Berkman and the related parts there, and some of those sessions that Thomas outlined, including the one we just had last week. And some of the idea around getting these programs in place is that at the local level, if you are, as an executive committee, really struggling with trying to figure out what can we do to keep people engaged, that you can rely on these other things that we can provide from the organization to give your members a chance to stay involved, stay engaged, but not necessarily in the typical way, but definitely in a way that's still beneficial, as Thomas outlined. The other resources that were developed in the virtual chapter resource guide and the related material there that was covered tonight is also something that was developed over the summer. The management team and the staff, again, rallied around to try to get some of these things out. And then likewise, several of the tools that were outlined with MyAKPsi, many of them have been multi-year projects that we sort of had to fast track to get them online now, even though a couple weren't really scheduled to be online until next year. So things like the MyAKPsi app, the knowledge base, and I don't know if we covered tonight Volunteer Central, but that should be in full function as well. And that's an opportunity for chapter officers to connect with alumni who have already volunteered to serve as a speaker or on a panel or as a judge in a competition. If you're looking for people who may be interested in doing that, Volunteer Central becomes a clearinghouse where you can find people who may be willing to do that at your chapter, either in person, when, of course, that's able to happen again, but also virtually to invite them to be involved. So the last thing I wanted to cover this evening is just, again, the bigger picture of what our organization is facing. With COVID-19, as you can imagine, when the membership drop that we've had, and of course, I know at the local level, you all are seeing your peers who are trying to figure out, is this really something that's worth being a part of, given that we've gone virtual pretty much, as a whole collective college campus. Is it still worth being a part of? Of course, we think it is for a lot of different reasons, but some people don't. So where you have a situation where numbers go down, the rosters go down, then revenue goes down. And we have made substantial cuts in our budget as an organization in total. We are going to run this fiscal year. Our fiscal year runs from July the 1st through June the 30th. We will run about a $700,000 or $800,000 budget deficit. We are obviously still trying to find ways to cut costs and also do some additional fundraising to offset some of that budget deficit. But over the years, really over the last 20 years, we've done a pretty good job of putting away some reserve funding just for this very purpose, in case we run into a situation like this where the financial situation is tenuous. So the other thing I would say is that the other thing that we're also looking to do, particularly at the local level, and some of this is going to have to be a partnership. If there are some chapters out there that for sure you've got some members who are really suffering financially, they either weren't able to work over the summer, or perhaps their parents have lost their jobs, or some of their financial hardship. Of course, you all know you have the option of the LOA financial hardship status as membership, but what we also want to do is talk to you about some potential fundraising for members who are in that situation. We're going to sponsor a student fundraising drive, and we can do that for individual chapters. And we just need a partner, someone on your executive committee or some other leader in your chapter who'd be willing to work with somebody on our staff to develop a campaign. And we can provide all the resources, the landing pages, the payments, payment processes, all of that. We just need some help with content and some help with messaging. So again, that's another option that is available. The last thing I want to do is just say hello and thank you again to, I think April Finch is still on the line. Thomas had mentioned that the Brotherhood Unbounded program, if you are familiar with it, you have seen the newsletters that come out every couple of weeks. You've seen the program of events over the course of, the calendar of events and the schedule that we have set up as an organization. And some of the messaging around that was developed by April and the team that Thomas assisted and basically facilitated around Brotherhood Unbounded. And when I say team, it was a virtual internship for 7 AKPsi students to develop a marketing plan for Brotherhood Unbounded. So even something like the logo you would have seen this evening on the presentation was modified, in fact, from the feedback from this marketing team. So from staff to volunteers to alumni to students, everyone has sort of had a piece of this to try to keep us moving basically up and forward. So I appreciate all the efforts and appreciate your time tonight. JT, I'm wrapped up, so if you want to jump to Q&A, it's all yours.
All right. Thank you, Steve. All right, so speaking of such, so we'll go to open discussion. And Jacob or Brianna, would you like to look at the chat to see if there's any questions that pop up that are outstanding?
Haven't seen anything yet, but at this time, we're glad to answer any questions that you have. I would rather you walk away here with all of your questions answered. We have some of the brightest minds in this room right now, which is yourselves. So please feel free to chat or.
And speaking of that, I mean, if anyone has any ideas to improve anything, feel free to speak up. Just any other thoughts, comments, anything.
JT, can you stop sharing so we can see like the full entirety of everyone? If anyone wants to even like raise their hand or send us a message. What have y'all been doing to keep your brothers engaged?
Also, I did just notice that we have a spy in the group. We have someone from Area 3 currently. Welcome.
Just doing a little bit of benchmarking, right? Just seeing how the other group, how someone else does. All right.
You learn by watching.
We appreciate your support.
Absolutely.
Nicole from Case Western is asking, how do we access the Berkman surveys for the chapter?
So Nicole, we will be rolling that out, I think, in a couple weeks with the link to the survey. And then from there, we'll pick a day where we'll try to push everyone to take the survey. And then those reports will be created. And then we'll actually do a town hall where everyone come in and kind of bring their report and hear a presentation on how to read the report as we move forward. So that will be coming out in a couple weeks.
Okay.
What other questions do we have? Alex from Gamma Chi says, casual Zoom events for people to chat and hang out. We also have made a family philanthropy competition to keep people engaged.
That's a good one.
Also, I won't be able to do this with every chapter. I just another VCR. So please post your chapter as well.
Does any advisors have any questions or anything that they just need some more clarification on?
This is a time for other chapters to be able to talk and learn from each other. I'd really encourage, if you're doing anything cool in your chapter right now that you want to share, please brag. Alex is asking, how have people been doing virtual rituals? They're worried about it being less private and people's roommates listening in.
Illinois Wesleyan had their induction yesterday, and they had some people in the room and some people were virtual. And it didn't really seem to be an issue. I think they may, I'm not 100% sure, but I think they may have been prepped prior to the event to make sure that, you know, they were in a closed quarters, because I didn't have any interference or anything that I saw that was an issue. In addition, I'm actually wondering if anybody has come up with any good fundraising ideas. Doing that virtually has been a bit of a challenge as far as keeping members engaged. I think as far as professional events, we're looking at doing things with their on-campus career center over something like Zoom. And then I have volunteered to do like a improve your LinkedIn profile for them over Zoom as well. So.
You know, the one fundraiser, it's not so much a fundraiser, it's just an interesting idea. The University of Tennessee, what they did, they're doing a sponsor a brother event for the alumni. So basically each brother or each alumni could sponsor a current brother in the chapter, and that would pay for their dues and relieve that stress. And I think that's something that's fantastic that the chapter is doing. So that's one way. It's not necessarily raising money for the chapter, but it's helping that individual for the chapter to focus on ideas for fundraising.
If I could say something as an advisor, This is Ed Friel at Butler. I've been encouraged by the way our executive team, even in the face of the COVID and the virtual situation, I've been encouraged by the way they have worked consciously to support the ideals of AKPsi, to make sure that we do have things going on for retention, for recruiting new members. I haven't seen anybody throw their hands up and say, "What the heck with it, we can't do it." So a shout out, I think, to any of the officers who are coping with some pretty unusual circumstances.
How has everyone been handling supporting their brothers, whether they may be a couple hours away or whether they may be across the world? How have you been connecting with them and making sure that they still feel that connection to campus and the connection to our fraternity? It's a question to the chapter officers here.
Has anyone had any trouble with communication so far and trying new ideas? So silence could be a good thing in this case, maybe. Meaning that everything's good.
So as a reminder as well, I know that there are a lot of chapters that have been trying to figure out status changes and the whole finances thing. So if you have brothers who aren't on campus, who might be across the world right now, instead of placing them up for suspension for any reasons, if they're not making it to events, if they're not able to pay dues, instead of doing that, let's consider a leave of absence instead. So leave of absences for either extreme hardship or medical emergency are leaves of absence that have to be approved by your regional director. So in an effort to retain your brothers and give them a little bit more flexibility, I would really encourage you to discuss these different options with your chapter. For each of the leaves of absence, they are case by case. So please make sure that with each brother, you are kind of gathering their case, everything that they're up to, so that we're able to make a good decision and able to approve or deny that. But flexibility is the name of the game, is something that we've been talking a lot in the management team. So whatever we can do to keep brothers active and engaged, keep them safe, but still keep them here, we want to work with you.
Great. Well, we are 4 minutes over. So if any other questions or anything else comes up, please let your chapter advisor, section director, regional director, any of your volunteer team know. We're here to support you all. And to kind of wrap things out, I have a quote, but then I also have an additional thought. So the quote is actually from John Wooden, who's one of the most winningest men's basketball coaches ever. And his quote says, "Things work out best for those who make the best of how things work out." So I think that's just kind of where we're at right now with everything, with AKPsi, personal life, everything. We just gotta have to go with it and make it work. So that quote just kind of summed it up for us right there. And kind of the other thought, and this is me just kind of squirreling over here. Right before this call, I watched a movie called Sully, which some of you may be aware of. It was when the U.S. Airways plane crashed, or not crashed, it was a water landing into the Hudson back in 2009. So the one thing that was interesting is the feds were saying that they could have made it back to the airport and not landing back in the Hudson. But Sully was saying that this was an opportunity, that this was a human reaction. This is something that no simulator could project, right? So that's kind of what the situation is right now that we're in. I mean, on paper, everything looks fine. But at the end of the day, the human factor, the creativity that each of us have, that's what's going to get us to where we want to be. Sully didn't lose one life because they worked together as a team, him and his first mate together. And they had an opportunity to save those lives and critically think of how to best project next steps. And it saved 155 lives right there. So when you're in your chapter, you have an opportunity to be a hero. You have an opportunity to be a hero for your chapters in the long run for this semester, next semester, and how many other semesters moving forward. So just kind of keep that in mind because we're all in this together. And I do think that we will get through this. I may be biased, but I still think Area 2 is the best, and we're going to prove that this semester and next. So let's just keep striving forward, keep communication lines open, and let's keep on keeping on. All right. Well, thank you all so much for being on this call tonight. Hope that you have a great rest of your week and weekend, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, JT.
Night,
Go
everyone.
Area 2.
Good night.